Hello, and welcome to Talk.Therapy.Heal, where we are a group of licensed professionals having curated conversations about daily life struggles and challenges. Join us as we share with you some tools, tips, and strategies to live a better life.
Hi, I'm Kenya.
Hey, I'm Rachel.
Hey, Larisha Perlow.
I'm Yanika.
Hello, everyone. I am Chantra, better known as Shan. So in this episode, we are going to be speaking about how can I become something I never seen?
Ooh.
How can I become something I have never seen?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's get into it, y'all.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
What they saying, Bishop saying, let's go to work.
Yes, let's go to work.
Yeah. So when I just think about that question in and of itself, the word become.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, the word become walks out to me. To me, it implies a process of accomplishing something, a process of getting to a destination, right? A destination. And so, yeah, if you could bring up that definition.
Begin to be.
Begin to
be.
be. To be.
It's become. To become is to begin to be. Yes.
Begin to be.
Of a person qualify or be accepted as, acquire the status of. That's good. Be appropriate or suitable to someone. I like that. Of clothing, looking good on or in a suit. And then in question, happen to. So become means begin to be.
Begin to be.
So how can you begin to be something you've never seen?
By asking a question. By asking a question.
Asking a question.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
How do I become this?
Yeah, so I was going to ask that. What's the questions that they should be asking themselves?
Maybe so. Let's just say you wanted to be a bodybuilder. How do I bodybuild? What's the purpose of bodybuilding? What do I need to fuel myself so that way I'm putting in my body what's needed in order to become effective, right? So maybe asking the question.
I like that. You ask yourself the question, but would you also need to believe in yourself? So self-belief. Yeah. I would have to believe I can become a bodybuilder first before I can become the bodybuilder. So how do I have self-belief then? You identify that strength. So if I want to be a bodybuilder, right? Like what strengths do I need to have to be that bodybuilder? Set realistic goals to achieving that bodybuilder status. Challenge negative thoughts. All of the things that might come against you about why you shouldn't or you can't be a bodybuilder. Learn from your failures. So learn from them. Don't
Stew in them.
Yes, thank you. Yes, don't stew in them, but learn from them. Practice self-compassion. Yeah. So be compassionate with yourself. If you don't, it's okay, but you're not staying there. Surround yourself with support. So maybe people who look like what you want to become, right? Take action and then practice self-affirmation.
Wow. Yeah.
This is how you believe in yourself. This is how you believe in becoming something that you've never seen. I feel like, too, we need to dig a little bit deeper into what is it that I would want to become that I haven't seen. So what we would see on a regular or the daily with our clients or just with people in general. We've talked about different things in other shows, like the whole mommy daddy issue thing, the Superman, Superwoman energy. Like, how do I be a good mother? How do I be a good father if I've never seen a good mother or a good father? If we go back to your idea of begin to ask the question, what is a good mother? What is good? Right. So I think breaking it down and researching it, right? Because we always hear the example that
I didn't grow up with this, or nobody taught me this, right? And so a lot of times people become, self-made millionaires. Well, you can become self-made healed, or self-made this, or self-made that, and how do they become self-made millionaires? Well, then they put in the time, they research, they set realistic goals. They invested in themselves, right? They begin to gain tools necessary for whatever goal they're trying to reach. So like for instance, if I'm trying to become healed, well, I need to invest in a counselor. I need to, invest in time off so I can take a break from the stressors at work. Right. I need to invest. I need to read books. That's my biggest thing. Knowledge is power. How do you gain knowledge? You got to read. You have to fill yourself with the truth, right? So I will say it's about investing in yourself. So identifying the goal and then investing. So that means putting in time, money, and effort into becoming what you want to be. Because, right, you might not have grown up with somebody showing you how to manage your money. But, baby, it's a lot of resources out there, a lot of communities, centers, and banks that will give you information, tools, strategies. So, yeah, you may not have seen it, but you have to decide within yourself what I want to become and go do it for yourself.
And that's the thing, the decision. Make the decision. You have to make the decision. No one can make it for you. You have to decide that there's something else that I want to be. I don't want to be known or labeled as this. I want to become this. So then it starts with identity. Knowing who you are, how you're showing up, and what it is that you want. Right?
I would even go a step further and talk about character. Like your character development. You know what I mean? What does that look like? Do you have integrity? Are you committed? Are you faithful?
Yes.
But what does that have to do with becoming something that you've never seen? Well, I mean, you need a model.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's good.
What's the model?
I was sitting up thinking, the initial part of her question, she had asked, when you are trying to become something that you have never seen, generally, the common is generally, how can I be a mother or a father if I didn't have that model for me in my home? Like you all were speaking to, one of the things that I often hear is wife. How do I become a wife? I don't know. No one ever. It's not like, we were speaking about in previous shows how individuals, we were taught, we know this. Sit with your back up, shoulders back, knees together, ankles crossed, especially if you have a dress on, all these little things. But who teach you how to be a wife? Who teach you how to be a husband? And so if you've grown up in a home where it's either single parent and or you have both parents, but it's severe dysfunction, you then take on as a child like, oh, well, I always see my mom and daddy fight and cuss each other out. So that's what I'm supposed to do when I get a spouse. Or I always see my daddy, sneak off and go over here. Or I always see my mama hiding away money and saying, don't tell your daddy. So that's what I thought that I was supposed to do. And so it makes me think about, what about those individuals that, well, I did have a dad or a mom, but didn't realize that it was toxic. And so now, how do I navigate through life? Because I'm thinking, this is what I seen. This is what's supposed to be. And even if I did know the Bible and I know the word, well, again, I got it in my notes, but I wanted to go back to it. But, that which we've never seen, 9 times out of 10, we're going to go with what we see in front of us versus what's in the word for us.
Yeah. And hearing what you're saying about how do you become that, I have here, like, create your own path and define your identity based on your own unique experiences, values, and aspirations. So while you may say, well, I don't know how to be a mother, I don't know how to be a wife, what you saw was toxic, you don't necessarily have to go based upon that. You can define your own things, which goes back to the identity of understanding who you are, identifying what you want based on your experience, your values, your aspirations, rather than conforming to predefined expectations or societal norms. Like, I don't have to do what this couple did here on this show or on social media because they showing it all. I can do it differently. Now, I want to say this because I have been a person who I glean from people that I feel like are doing the things that I would want to do, but I don't mimic. And gleaning, I take those nuggets, which is what we're offering here tonight. I take those nuggets and I see how I can apply it in my life and what it looks like for me. So again, basing it upon my own unique aspirations, my own unique experiences and my values. I don't try to become somebody else because you can't. That's a cheap version of them. You have to be who you are, be authentic to you. So whatever it is that you said, again, gleaning from someone, there might be some, like Larisha's very soft spoken. I love that about you. So I would model to be more soft spoken, but I'm not trying to become Larisha. Right? Right. It's only one. It's only one Larisha. There's only one Yanika. There's only one Shan. There's only one Rachel. There's only one Kenya. No one can become you. Therefore, you shouldn't ascribe to become anyone else besides yourself.
That's good. And I look at this in a little bit of a different view. I'm going to mix some military stuff up in there. And then also take some things that you guys use. In order to become something that you've never seen, the first thing you have to do is make up your mind that that's what you want and then start. Yes, do your research. Find out what it's going to take to get there. Am I made for that? What are my capabilities that I have? What applications do I need to have to apply in order to do that? And then the other thing is just once you get to that point, it's so easy for individuals to fall back into their comfort zone. You got to get outside that comfort zone, which means some of the things that you probably used to do in order to get to that place, you can't do it anymore. And then a quote that our old bishop used to say, and I don't know who said it, but it says, if you ever want to do something that you never had, you got to do something that you never done, which means you have to stick to the plan. For a lot of individuals, they have made the plans, they knew which direction they had to go in, and then they let small people talk them out of big things. All the people that end up being the naysayers, all the people that say, nah, you ain't gonna be able to do this. Well, how you figure you go get any support? Well, you just told me that you ain't gonna support me. So now I'm gonna need you to step to the wayside. And so for me, it's about having those SMART goals that you have to use to make sure that you're benchmarking, you're hitting certain points along the way. If I'm going from here to Dallas, I got to go through Waco. I got to hit Hillsboro. I got to hit Watcha. And if you're not hitting those, you're going to end up somewhere else. So you got to have a map, if you will, that kind of guides you. And it also is a motivational factor to say, once I get here, I only got so much further to go. And I think every last one of us probably did that when it came to school. You had to register. You had to attend to show up in class. You had to do the assignments. Oh, I just got 3 classes knocked out. Oh, I only need X amount of credits. And then before you know it, graduation day was there. And so once that graduation day gets there, are you truly ready at that point to walk into your calling? There are so many people that have gotten all the way and toed the line and then step over because they felt like, oh, well, I did all that work. I just can't see doing the rest of it. You've already did all that before. Why not go ahead and carry it through?
I hear 2 things is one, steward excuses. And when I say steward, I mean like deal with them. Like don't allow the excuses to hold you back from becoming what you've never seen. And excuses are something that you make up in your mind. Obstacles are external. So we have to overcome obstacles, but we have to like get rid of dismiss excuses because those are things that we tell ourselves why we can't do it.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is managing our emotions. Because our emotions can be faulty at times, right? So we can, we say like, trust your intuition. Well, if I am intuitively scared to talk to people, then
you can't trust
then I won't go forward. But if I say, you know what, no, I'm overriding that, and I know I need to reach out to her because she has the key to my next step. So you can't always listen to your emotions because it can be fear-based, right? So you have to go based on facts. That's why I say facts are feelings.
Absolutely. And for me, if I knew someone that was in this boat, they didn't know what they wanted to be, I could easily tell them my story. I grew up without a father in my life for a majority of my life. And then I had an individual, my mom, him got married, but it still wasn't that father figure because he had fathered 3 girls. He never had a son. And so here he is, special forces, all this stuff. Here I am, a little guy. I ain't gonna never be nothing. You're too small for this. You're too small for that. And so for me, I was always constantly told, you can't do anything because you're small. And so what I made up my mind to do, I had to start with say, it doesn't matter what other people say. If I'm going to do something, it has to be for me and I'm going to do it. And so the first thing I always said, I'll never have just one kid. I'll never have one because I know what it was like for me to grow up. And so I think I exceeded that expectation. I got 5 now. Went overboard.
Amen.
But, hey, man, amen, important. No. But what we have to understand is that if you want to reach out and get something, you go and do it. And like Nikki was saying, don't worry about everybody else. Your plan is your plan. However you get from A to B, that's for you. But sometimes what we have to understand, you can't run and tell everybody what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's when you run into those naysayers. Sometimes we invite problems in, and that's the reason why we can't be what God has called us to be. If you have people that will put pits in your path. The same thing that happened with Joseph and his brothers. Hey, we don't like you being a favorite. We go dig a hole for you. And what they didn't realize is they was bringing him from the pit to the palace. And so when people throw pits in front of you, don't look at it as a way for me to turn back. Find it as a way that you can dig out of it and then keep going. Because God will open up every opportunity for you in order to get to that place that he's already predestined you to be at.
That's right.
It ain't the enemy all the time. We like to throw that out there. More than half the time, it's us. And when we come outside of us and stay inside of God, then guess what? Then those things are going to come into fruition. And my wife will tell you, this is not trying to brag or anything. There have been several things in our lives that we spoke into existence a long time ago. And we said, at some point in time, this is going to happen. When that happens, this is what we're going to have. Every last thing we done ever said came into it because once we made up our mind to get it, we did not stop.
You're focused.
Focus. You got to be. And you got to have that connection, working as a team. She understands her role. I understand my role. And then we have to understand the roles we have when we come together. That's where people, I think, go astray in their goals, especially when it comes to husbands and wives. Well, baby, I just need you to take care of this. I got that. Okay, so we're doing that, but what are we doing collectively? We're both doing individual tasks. What are we doing collectively for the growth of the relationship, the growth of the family? So in order to do something that you've never done, just do it. Start. Because if you don't start, you'll never finish.
I know I was, so how can I become something I've never seen? One of the recent conversations, and it seemed like it's an ongoing conversation when it comes to the family dynamic. In previous shows, we talk about what runs through the bloodline and things like that. I forget which individual I was talking to about this because I seen a TikTok video and this lady was speaking about, and we spoke about it a lot of times too, how you're told in the family, it's not that you never say anything bad against your parent, but say if your parent, they did the best they could, but they didn't do maybe
They suck.
that part. That part. And so they instead of what they did is they damaged. And so a lot of relationships in disregard that the young lady was speaking about was mother and daughter. So you have some mother and daughters that, you could tell they have an amazing relationship. You could tell that the mom is invested in the daughter is looking up to the mom as an example. But what if you grew up in a home where your mother treats you like you are her problem, treats you like you're a black sheep, and this is what the lady was talking about. She was like, listen, quit coming at people when they say, well, me and my mom don't have a good relationship. Well, that's your mama and you should do and blah, blah, blah. But think about this. Then you go on to have a child. So yes, you may have seen your mother or you may have seen your father because they were present in your life, but they really wasn't present in your life. So now you go on to have a son or you go on to have a daughter. So let's just stay in the mother-daughter vein. What I've always heard is become the person that you've needed.
That's good.
Become the person that you've needed. So when we say, how can I become something I've never seen? if you didn't have that healthy dynamic, if you had something that was toxic or a parent that was absent, you know what you needed. And some of us are adults, we still don't kind of know yet, but you have an inkling in your heart. It's something in your spirit that you've always thrived. So if your dad wasn't there, then you know what you've thrived for. Now you have some people, they'll, act out. They'll be, let's say if it's a girl and she doesn't have her dad, and she may get into all these relationships, and or if it's a guy, he didn't have his mom, and so now I end up marrying someone who treats me like her son instead of her husband. So I'm trying to kind of bring in the other. I like y'all's eyes. Y'all like, if y'all can feel this in the room. I'm trying to bring the other dynamic of when the person may have been present, but it was toxic. So what do I do? And then we have to make the conscious decision, because I believe that it's a choice to either stay in the same vein of that toxicity or say, I am not willing, going back to us being the bologna between two pieces of bread and a generational gap. I'm not willing. And a lot of people I know for sure that are our age group, I'm not, it stops here. These generational curses stop here. This stops here. No one's going to be able to say you're going to be like your no good daddy. You're going to be like your trifling mama. It stops here. And so I think that kind of coupled with the previous show that we did, but then how to become something that I've never seen, that right there is, I think, somewhat maybe some jealousy of, how did you come to one to stop the generational curse in the family? A common generational curse in a lot of families, may be a good example to kind of make it make sense, is teen pregnancy. Oh, well, that it just runs in our family because, my great grandmama had like a baby at 14 and 16 and then again at 19 and then my mama had, and then, and so it's almost like a badge of honor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not maybe so positive. Well, I did, it was good enough for you. Well, I got pregnant, so you deal with it. But a lot of this generation, again, is saying, no, it stops here. Right. So then what I kind of see is, okay, well, you didn't have a father. How did you become such an awesome father? You had a mother that treated you like the black sheep of the family. How did you become such an amazing mother and able to have such a beautiful relationship to your own children?
You created your own path.
There you go.
Yes.
And defined your identity based on you and not them.
Yes, I identified the problem.
You decided.
I did something about that problem. I went and got the help. I went and got the counseling. I went and got to the root of whatever it was. And I made the conscious decision that I do not want to operate. You did the best that you could, but that doesn't mean that I have to do what you did.
Not repeat.
That part.
Yeah. And this makes me think about, how can someone grow? Because it's just like, you grow up with all of your siblings, but one of you are different, right? Like you came from the same household, same value system, but somebody made a different decision. And so it makes me think about God, and it makes me think about, being something that you've never seen before. And I just go back, this is a very familiar passage, but it's Jeremiah 29:11. If you've never seen it, you have to have faith that it can be done. And so I'm going to just read it to you for those who need to hear this. For I know the plans and thoughts that I have for you, says the Lord. Plans for peace and well-being, and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. And so I do believe by faith, that's how you become. That's something you've never seen, just knowing that God has a plan for my life. And so God revealed that to me because I've never seen it in my bloodline. My mama never did it. My daddy never did it. Maybe I never had them in my life. But God, I believe that you have something in store. So your faith will help you to become something you've never seen.
Absolutely. That's good.
Staying in that same vein. So our motto as Christians is Christ. Right? To become more like him. Right? Ephesians 5:1-2 says, and I'm going to give y'all the Message translation.
That's the
I
one.
love Message.
Just what it says. That's what it says. It says, watch what God does, and then you do it. Like children who learn proper behavior from their parents, Mostly what God does is love. Keep company with him and learn a, a- keep company with him and learn a life of love. Observe how Christ loved us. His love was not cautious, but extravagant. He didn't love in order to get something from us, but to give everything of himself to us. And then it says, love like that.
Love like that.
Love like that.
Wow.
I tell you
Wow.
that Message Bible always
Love
slaps
like
you.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we
It
do
is
that by faith.
By faith.
We follow by faith,
Yeah.
right? We imitate Christ
Yeah.
by faith.
Mm.
And faith comes by hearing.
Right.
Hearing the word of
Mhm.
God. So put in your ear truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
So may I ask, how many, have you all had this present in your counseling rooms, and what tools did you give or share with the client? And then this is probably a three-part question. Once they utilized the tools, what was the outcome? So pick it's about three questions. Pick
So, what tools? So, one, I think going back, because my thing is identity, is identifying those traits. I have a client who doesn't like to be compared to her mother because what she feels about her mother doesn't line up with what she feels like a mother is supposed to be. But as we begin to pull back the layers of who she saw herself as, she saw her mother.
Oh, wow.
And it tore her up that she had become her mother, but she was so focused on not becoming her that she became her. And so the thing was, okay, now that you've identified this within you, what is it that you want to see now? So again, going back to who I am and what do I want? So then I took her through the whole change behavior part, right? So now we got to learn how to change. So we're going to take the steps to learn how to change. What is the behavior that you see, that you do, that you don't like? And what is the behavior you now want to see? So the things that she was learning, or that she had vicariously learned, or just in being under her mom's auspice, right? It's like, I learned how to do these things, but now I'm doing it to my kids. I didn't like it when she did it, and I'm doing it to them. I don't want to do that. How do I change that? So again, identifying what needed to be changed and taking her through the steps of change.
Wow.
That's good.
It is good.
Wow. I would say, for me, I had a client who came in and he was stepping into fatherhood, and his father wasn't present, in his life. And so he came to me, a woman. I'm a parent, right? But he came to me, a woman, you know what I mean, asking, what does he do? Because he's never seen me, right? What, if I could say it this way, what right looks like. You know what I mean? And so we definitely did some exploration of his identity. We did exploration of just like getting his perspective and his view on, like, well, what are the characteristics, you know what I mean, that you see in a father? And, do you have those characteristics? And, do those characteristics need to be developed? You know what I mean, in the process. But in the long run, I mean, I don't know how it ended because we're still
Right. We're still in the process.
in the process.
Yeah.
But he took away, just from the first, I would say, few sessions, that, you know what I mean, he's capable. He didn't have the confidence, you know what I mean, in there, but he took away, from the first few sessions, that he is capable, you know what I mean, of parenting in a way that's gonna create a human that's, you know what I mean, great in society. You know what I mean? But just from a few sessions.
Yeah.
But he was vulnerable enough, you know what I mean? Because in order for us to know who we are, we gotta get to the root. We got to get to the meat, get to the white meat, right? Right, of a thing. And so he was willing to dig and to.
Yeah. I think part of it too is become getting that courage or even being told that they can. So a lot of times when people show up like that, like they don't know that they have the ability to do the things that we're now telling them that they can do because no one has ever told them. And so which is why it's so important to bridge those gaps with people, with certain people, and not overlook things because you don't think you can connect. You can connect on so many different levels with so many different topics. So had he not had the courage, though, to reach out for help, he would have never known that he could be a great father, even though he had never seen what a great father could be.
Yeah. I think we see that a lot more often than not. There are a lot of parents out there who are going through that same thing. Their parents weren't the best parents in the world, and now they're bringing a child into the world, and they're just trying to figure out how to navigate that. And I had an individual came in, much of the same thing, was going through a lot with the parents telling that individual what they were not, what they would never be. And I just simply just looked at him and I said, if you were in line, and let's say you're the 8th, 9th, or 10th person in line, and I walked up to the first person and I just slapped the smack out of them. And then I got the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Now you're number 9 or 10. Are you going to stay in that line? And they was like, no. I said, why? Because I know I'm going to get hit. Absolutely. So you do the opposite of what you already been seeing. You get out of that line because you already know what's coming. And it takes me to a quote by Mark Cain that says, the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be captive of the environment in which you found yourself in. So when you see that your parents maybe didn't raise you the right way, you felt a certain way about that, you just got to do the opposite. Take yourself out of that environment, because the longer you stay in that environment, the longer you become entrapped in that environment.
Yeah. I often think how I'm proud of people just in general who maybe did not have the best example, but made the conscious decision to do different. I think that is so amazing, although I know for most that it probably wasn't an easy journey to even admit, and you all were speaking about being vulnerable, to be able to humble yourself, to be able to let your pride put it to the side and say, you know what, I'm going to take this time to do this work. I know with Kenya and I had spoke to him, and I remember, I think I hit 40. I don't know. I keep saying it's something about when you hit 40. And I don't know if it's the fact, I asked someone who's older in my family about this, and they said, well, when you're in your 20s, you feel like you got the rest of your life to live. It's going to take forever to get there. But once you get in your 40s, you're like, ooh, I might have lived half of my life already. So things start to become more clear. And I remember coming to him and saying, look, honestly, I don't know what's going on with me right now. I just need to go see a counselor. And of course, as a, husband, well, is it something that I did? Is it something that I need to do? Is it something? No, it has nothing to do with you. And I remember saying this, and I don't even know if we were counselors at that time. Probably not. But I remember saying, I know there may be some changes within me, and I hope I don't take anything out against you. But it's like apologizing in advance. So when you as an individual can recognize, yeah, I may not have seen it before, but I know this don't feel right. I know I want different. I know I want to be better. I know I don't want to go along to get along, because that's what we hear a lot in our family. And you can go to, if you're married, your spouse or your support system, and say, hey, I might have to fall back for a minute, because we were talking about that in another episode. We were talking about Jesus. Jesus would just go and be like, because I call the disciples the homies. But Jesus be, oh, Jesus, you need us to go to the other side of the lake and go with, no. Y'all stay over here. I'm about to go. Right. I got this. I need some time with my father. And I think Kenya mentioned in another episode. So it's okay to fall back and say, I need this time to work on me. But that take humbling yourself again, putting your pride aside, being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to really identify, having a a counselor not going to a counselor and saying, I tried counseling. How many times have y'all heard that? I tried counseling, I just quit. That stuff ain't for me. How many sessions you go to? One? What? Look, it's like, what? Don't do a test drive. Be serious about it. Be intentional. Somebody said that. Be intentional. And so what I'm proud about with, and I'll kind of put this out there, with clients, there are so many people now that are being intentional. There are so many people that I know what I want in a therapist. And so, I know I'm going to speak for all of us because we all do it. We all do it. Even if we can't accept you in on as our client, we will say, okay, what are you looking for? What do you need? I will still have a conversation with someone and refer. I will even go to step now. I'm gonna refer, but I'm saying, hey, Nikki, are you open on your? Oh, okay. So Rachel, you open? Oh, Larissa, you open? Oh, y'all can see somebody right now. Okay. I don't even get. So then I go back and say, listen, here's 3 referrals. These 2 are virtual. This one may see, you know what I'm saying? But they are now making the conscious decision.
Yeah.
I don't want this same life anymore. I know there's more out there for me, especially when you're talking about faith. And you like, God, I know you didn't create me to be up in this foolishness. The devil is a lie.
This is not the end to my story.
That is it.
Right.
People bridging their own gaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's good.
Yes.
Wow. But it's so many people that's starting to do that. I mean, have y'all seen that?
Absolutely. I mean, they are coming to counseling more direct, knowing that they want healing.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. When they come knowing like, this is what I want, I don't want to be the same, it makes the process easier.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
They're willing to do the work.
Because they come ready and hungry. And I think the other thing is faith is, it's so good. I can just speak personally, like, you know how you just know, like, this ain't it? And I think people and our clients feel that too. Like, man, there has to be something better. There has to be more. And I think, like, if you feel that, tap into that. Like, don't disregard that feeling where, they may be at ground 1, but you may feel like, man, but I'm at a 10. Chase it. Pursue it. Don't ignore it just because your neighbor isn't going after it, or your sister or your spouse, you know what I mean? Because you want to walk on one accord. But if it's something within you, if there's a fire, go after it. It's there for a reason. I just want to give you the scripture because it's so good. It says, no eyes has seen, no ears has heard, no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. So think, if God has something so good that nobody's ever seen, you've never seen it, but God said it is so. And because he loves you, he's going to give it to you. So pursue it. Pursue.
Even if you've never seen it, that's the thing, is going after it, even though you've never had a direct model of it in front of you, no examples to follow. Like people, I know we're talking and speaking about God a lot on this platform, but some people don't have family members who even talk about God. They may not even know him. And so if that's one of your things, one of your aspirations is to have a closer walk with God, or even to get to know him, even though you don't have a direct model of that, pursue it, go after it, because when you start to take that path, when you start to walk that walk, God provides all the things that we need. Everything we need. I just reminded of the song, God Provides. Tamla Man. He provides. He provides everything we need. All you have to do is be willing to take that step.
So pursue, because like you say, if you need a mentor, if you need a friend, if you need support, as long as you pursue, he will put it in your path for you.
Yes. I have seen that. And even in just my personal walk and different seasons of my life and walking out what God has for me, there's been people that he's taken off my path. There's been people that he strategically put in place in certain areas of my life where I'm like, this ain't nobody but God. Like, how would they even know to come and say the things that they're coming to say? Because they don't know me. They don't know anything about me. But here they are at a time where I needed to hear that, or I needed to see that. And maybe then there's people who I thought was supposed to walk with me along that path. And he said, no, they're not supposed to be with you on this. So he removes them. that type of walk and just being focused on where you're going helps you to become that thing that you've never seen. I've never seen this version of Nikki before.
Right. Wow.
Never seen this version of me. I've never seen it in anyone else. This version of who I am right now, I've never seen it before.
I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to kind of speak to something that you said, but also coupling with how can I become something I've never seen? So I remember listening to Ricky Smiley, and I don't know if y'all had heard this, but and y'all know potentially his relationship with Miss Janie. So Miss Janie is an older woman. She is a pistol. You hear me? But he takes, I can't say takes care of her, but it's like a grandmother to him. And so he was speaking about on his show, and this was like a few years ago, about how when you long for something in your life, you long for a dad, you long for, maybe you have a strained relationship with some of your family members, how God will place people in your life to be what you need. So although you never had someone that you've seen it physically or you've longed for something, when you go and pray to God, he was saying, God will bring you what you need. And so you end up forming that connection, as we were talking about on previous shows, with these individuals. Now, this is one thing I have seen. So, okay, case in point, when you speak to this, military. We kind of talked about this a little bit before on the show, but military. When you leave and you join the military, you know, your friends like, yeah, I'm so proud of you. And yeah, Nikki done made it through basic and AIT, and Larisha done became this job, and Kenya's out here leading the troops on deployment. You know, all these things. They're so proud of you. But when you're no longer in the military, and it's like, man, I can't wait for you to get out. Man, when you get out, we're going to travel. We're going to go on vacation, all these wonderful things. So you as the service member, how many of y'all can attest to this, is like, I can't wait to get out because I'll be rejoined with my family. But what tends to happen, especially if you are in a family that's not familiar with the military, the family tends to shun you. And so the relationship that maybe you had with your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, you formed relationships with those who served with you.
Because they understand
that part. So it's not like I'm again, I don't have my brother. So our kids, our children have military uncles and aunts, military cousins. And I mean, you are family like never before. So you may have come from a tight-knit family, but because they don't understand you, they don't understand your service, they don't understand what you've been through, and you think you're going to reintegrate into the family, rejoin, you don't. So you have seen it, but now it's not like it was before. And so how I was saying with Ricky Smiley, Miss Janie, God will bring military family. And hey, we're just going to be honest with this. Military people will tell you that military family will show up for them more than their blood family.
Oh, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
I got a sister. A sister. My mom never had any other girls. I'm my mom's only daughter she had. She had 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. I have a sister, not a friend. People like, just your best friend. That is my sister. I met her my second go round in the military, 2002. We have been close ever since 2002. Unbreakable bond. She understands me. I understand her. She's been there for me. I can count on her for anything. Anybody that I've met, like even within this group, my military family shows up. There's no question. I can call her right now and tell her I need anything, and she's gonna provide it. If she got it, it's mine. Anything. If she got it, I have it. Same thing with me. If I have it, she has it. Because of that bond. It's like, I don't know what it is about the military. Like when you meet up with people, I don't know if it's I really don't understand like what it is, even though I served for as long as I did and created these bonds that I have. Like, what makes our bond so much more tighter than a bond that I should have with a family member that shares my same bloodline?
I think it's the things that you go through. You go through shared experiences. There may be some near life death issues that go on. When individuals are struggling, you know, you're going through that same thing. And sometimes y'all get together and y'all can kind of talk with each other and help it out. I'll just tell you, when I was in AIT, could not shine no boots. I was not a shiner, but I can iron a uniform. And another guy, as it would, God would have it, his last name was King as well. He shined boots like it wasn't no tomorrow. But we both standing in formation looking good. And when they walk past us, you don't get no gig. You give them that little dap.
Right.
It's things like that that really help form that bond. And so in sticking with the title, how can I become something I've never had? We got to have that faith that Rachel was talking about. We got to believe in God, and God says this. Cause those things which are not as though they were. Sometimes before you even get to that destination, you got to start calling yourself that and believing that, so that when you walk into that, it's already yours. And when I was in school, Shannon and I both were in the counseling program. I remember there was one test that just threw me for a loop. And I remember my professor called me to the side and he says, you know what? You know, you already know. He said, Kenya, why are you pressing so hard with this? And I said, Dr. Dan, I said, ain't nobody trying to fail this class. I said, then I got to pay the government back. And I said, then if I drop below a B average, you know, I said, then you get put on academic probation. And he was like, but you got a 97 average. I said, yeah, but this thing is going to, he said, let me ask you a question. I said, okay. He said, you know what they call the person that graduates at the top of the class? I said, is it magna cum laude, something like that? Yeah. He was like, yeah. And he says, that person that's in medical school, they get that highest honor. What title do they get? I said, doctor. He says, that person that barely made the test and scored 70, what do they call them? I said, doctor. He said, so why are you trying so hard? He says, you're already walking in this. You're already doing it. Call yourself that and wait to the end. So sometimes we got to speak that stuff to ourselves and believe it ourselves, because what we're wanting to do is for everybody else to believe in us when we ain't believing in ourselves.
So like what I said earlier, self-belief.
You got to have that self-belief. You got to have that self-belief.
Believe in yourself. You got to have confidence in yourself that you can become the person you envision.
Right.
And the way I look at it, I know it's going back towards the Bible again, but if God could cause dry bones to rise up, what more can he do for you?
Right. Look, what you say, Rafa?
I'm back.
What you And this is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I was about to say, when you do the work, because one of the things I often tell my clients in the beginning, this is probably like the first session, listen, when you start changing, there are going to be individuals around you that is not going to like you, especially when you get to the point of identifying, recognizing, setting healthy boundaries, and implementing. So you're starting to become something that you've never seen. You're starting to become a better version that you were before. And those who used to leech onto you and benefit off of you are not going to like the change. So keep in mind that you have to be strong and continue to press forward, because what we tend to do as a people is want to regress back because we still want those old connections that never benefited us.
Yeah.
So do you want the positive family? Do you want, a better version of you where you're not stressed out, taking all these medications, negative self-talk, self-soothing behaviors that are negative to you?
Yeah.
So you want to see yourself, just as Nikki said, I've never seen this version of myself, but I've worked to be this person. And when it comes to relationships, this is something that I always say. This is something that we always say. And you had just made a very valid point. Even if your spouse, because people say, my spouse don't want to go to counseling, my husband or my wife, work on you.
Yeah.
Work on you. Because while you're working on you, do you not think your spouse is not paying attention?
Yeah.
And then that may cause them to work, and then they get in individual counseling. And then the next thing you know, we need to go to couples counseling.
Yeah.
So you can affect change. Don't always wait for someone else to change before you change. Work on you.
Yeah.
They will work on them. You are on your own, what do we say, personal responsibility. You're responsible for yourself. You can't control anyone else. So don't try to.
Absolutely.
That's it.
So
Don't wait for external validation
Ooh.
before you move.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you it's okay to move. Don't wait for somebody else to say you can. It's all internal.
Absolutely.
It's all internal.
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's good.
So you gotta begin.
To begin.
You gotta begin.
Gotta
To
begin.
become.
Mm-hmm. Boy, y'all just coming up with all these daggone phrases we can put on t-shirts.
I know.
We're gonna have to
Yeah. To become, you gotta begin.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that may be our Talk.Therapy.Heal brand right there with all those t-shirts.
All those
gotta
t-shirts.
begin.
Yes, you gotta begin. Wow, venturing beyond familiar boundaries. You gotta step outside the box.
Wow.
The box that you created for you and the box that others created for you as well.
Yeah.
You gotta step outside the box.
So I look at it as learn to be comfortable with the discomfort. Because if you've become something that you've never seen, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Very.
Because it's unfamiliar.
T-shirts and
Very.
It's unfamiliar.
I just remember that feeling of when God was shifting me like into who I am and walking me through that. It was the most uncomfortable thing because I wanted to go back to what was comfortable, and God was saying, no, I'm calling you higher. And I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm ready for the higher, but he was like, you are. And it's like, for me, I'm the kind of person that when I know that there's better for me, I'm going to keep pushing until I get to it. I can't stay stagnant because I know that there's something better. So I have to keep moving. But it's the most uncomfortable thing ever.
Yeah. You ever had a 10-speed before?
Yes.
Did you always stay in first gear?
No.
Had to shift.
Had to shift.
Had to shift.
Had to shift.
And that's what I think people have to understand. people have to understand that, once you get going, you're going at a certain speed. At some point in time, it's going to pick up. You got to get ready to go to that next gear.
Exactly.
That's the way God designed it. Yeah. He's not going to keep you stagnant in the same spot.
That part. Glory to glory.
Man, look at that.
Glory to glory. There's levels to this thing.
And it's still glory. And
that's it.
Whatever stage you're in,
it's
still
It's amazing.
It's that.
That's amazing.
Glory to glory. So even if you're on level 1 and you go to level 2, you're still in glory.
Yes. I think it's the comparison, though, that keeps people from believing or seeing that it is glory.
Yeah.
That they're comparing their level to someone else's level. And because my level don't look like your level, then mine ain't glorious. Ain't nobody, God ain't in this.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all about to go shout.
Right. Right.
It's back out makeup running all over the place.
Right. It's a sense of freedom. Because when you walk in a healthier version of you and a healthier self, it's freedom. So what we have, I believe, been talking about, like this whole trying to encourage you all to become a better version of yourself, because we all understand, not just because we're a licensed professional, it's freedom.
Yeah.
Stop walking in bondage and start walking in freedom.
That's it.
Yes.
Another shirt idea.
Yeah. We gonna have some shirts for y'all for sale.
Right.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
There you go.
Right.
Coming soon. Talk.Therapy.Heal is a
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Come on. Listen, we're creating in the midst of this.
Yes, yes. So yeah, we are at the end. We are
at the end.
But we are at the end. We have to leave y'all here. But oh my God, this has been amazing. This has truly been amazing to hear just how to become something you've never seen from so many different perspectives.
Right.
So many different nuggets. So many different things. I hope y'all chewing on it. Y'all should be full.
Man.
Y'all should be full.
Your church notebook should be very full.
Yes.
Very full. Very full. Utilize what you've written down. Utilize what you've eaten on today.
Yes.
Let it be nourishment for your body and soul so that you may grow and continue to evolve into the person that God has created you to be. Not what man says that you are, but what God says you are.
Yes.
I feel like, do we have a tip, y'all? Like, or do we want to just end it right there? We have a tip.
I think we can end it because the mottos that I wrote
we
down.
need to leave with like some like church music, like
We shouting, y'all. We shouting.
We need a little organist.
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
You gonna be, ooh, I cannot wait to see
I know.
another version.
We cannot wait to hear your stories of accomplishments, your success stories.
Yes.
So if it's anything while you're listening to Talk Therapy Heal, some nuggets that you glean, some jewels, as Larisha said, that was being dropped, please leave it in the comments. It's not for us, but it's to help other people.
Yes.
It's not for us to get no type of glory. It's for other people to be able to draw from your successes.
Absolutely.
So it can bless and help someone else.
That's it.
All right. And that's it. That's all, y'all, here at Talk Therapy Heal. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share. Please share. We'll see y'all next time here at Talk Therapy Heal. Bye.
Bye.